Domestic violence is a pervasive issue, a deadly scourge in our society. Far too many people, women and men, have senselessly lost their lives to domestic violence. Hopefully, knowledge and awareness could prevent future tragedies and save people from falling victim to this endless deadly cycle. Today, our focus is the horrific impact this epidemic has had on women. Women of all races and ethnicities are affected by domestic violence, yet studies show that Black women are victims more than any other racial or ethnic group. According to the Institute of Women's Policy Research, 31% of all women have experienced physical violence from an intimate partner, but the statistic for Black women is more than 40%. Non-Black, Latina, Asian, and immigrant women also face significant challenges, grappling with cultural stigmas and barriers that could prevent seeking help to escape an abusive relationship. These statistics undoubtedly paint a grim picture of how domestic violence is affecting people in this country, highlighting the deep and systemic inequalities that make women of color more susceptible to being victims of violence from their intimate partner, and less likely to get the support they so desperately need. The intersection of racism, sexism, and economic inequality plays a key role in these higher rates of abuse. Gabrielle Bolton, a young Black woman from Jacksonville, Florida, had a life full of promise. She was just 18 years old and was a high-achieving student, deeply involved in her school's ROTC program, and was planning on joining the military. Beyond her academic achievements, Gabrielle had dreams of a career as a prosecutor or district attorney, positions where she could have used her voice to be an advocate for others. But on that Monday, all of her hopes and dreams were silenced forever. On that morning of August 18, 2022, Gabrielle was in her home in Jacksonville, on West 33rd Street, with her 19-year-old boyfriend Isaiah Greene, who lived there with her in a room that they were renting. Isaiah was being the very jealous and insecure young man that he is, accusing Gabrielle of cheating on him. The tension in the air was thick, and Greene's rage increased with each second. Suddenly, he struck Gabrielle multiple times with a metal object. He then wrapped her body in a shower curtain and a towel, his futile attempt to hide her body. This was a senseless conflict that Isaiah Greene should never have started or escalated to violence. Greene called his mom, and what she heard on the other end of the line was a shocking confession from her son. Isaiah told his mother that he killed Gabrielle, and that he didn't mean to do it. Before emergency responders could arrive at the home, Isaiah Greene ran from the scene, escaping on foot. Gabrielle Bolton was found battered, bruised, and no longer living. The ripple effects of Gabrielle's death was devastating. Her parents, Curtis and Nicole Bolton, were in the courtroom, where they made emotional statements, speaking to the incredible loss they had been suffering through. Curtis spoke about Gabrielle's bright smile and warm spirit, while Nicole spoke of the deep pain she felt, losing her daughter to someone she called a monster. Isaiah Greene would later admit to police that he had been mentally and physically abusive to Gabrielle Bolton throughout their entire relationship. He confessed that he let his anger and jealousy get the best of him, and he killed Gabrielle in a moment of uncontrolled rage. He described how the fight started on that fateful morning. The couple had been arguing in the bathroom, and the violent onslaught from Isaiah began not long after that. Isaiah Greene was sentenced to 50 years in prison for Gabrielle's murder, a sentence truly befitting a paranoid, cold-hearted killer who has caused unthinkable, irreversible devastation, reflected the severity of his crime. While this punishment ensures that Greene will spend much of his life behind bars, it will never restore the life that was lost. Gabrielle's potential, her dreams of joining the military and becoming a prosecutor, were cruelly stolen from her by a man who was supposed to care for her. Gabrielle's mother, Nicole Bolton, directed her anguish squarely at Isaiah Greene. She did not see him as a young man who had lost control. In her eyes he was a monster. Nicole stated, "When our children are little, we are always telling them there are no such things as monsters. This is a lie," she said, her voice filled with fury and pain. The only way she could see Greene's actions were unforgivable, and the emotional prison that Gabrielle's death had condemned her family to was one that would last a lifetime. 50 years was the appropriate sentence, getting justice for Gabrielle, but nothing will ever bring her back to her loved ones. The landlord of the residence told the police that he had been renting the room to Isaiah and Gabrielle for about 3.5 weeks. He said he was away from the home visiting his girlfriend when he received a text message from Greene at 9:25 that morning. The message was, "Don't bring anyone here today. Call me ASAP." The landlord went straight to the house hoping to find out what's going on. When he got there, Greene was standing outside on the front step talking with his mother. The landlord said he entered the home to retrieve some bill information, then he left. He said that Greene was still outside with his mother when he got back to the house. This is when he overheard Greene say, "I don't know what happened, maybe she slipped and fell." It was Greene's mother who called 911, and her son did not wait around for them to arrive. An officer found him close by, and he was taken into custody. He described in detail exactly what happened on that fateful date to authorities. He stated that the argument was about her talking on FaceTime with a male. At a candlelight vigil held for Gabrielle Bolton, her father Curtis Bolton spoke about how smart and strong of a person she was. He stated, "She wasn't shy at all. If she had something to say, she lets you know whether it be good, bad or very wise. She was very strong-willed, very intelligent. Gabby was the light in the room, and even though she may not have always liked it, people gravitated to her. I dream of her every night and she's always smiling."
Family and friends will gather to remember a young woman who was killed on our First Coast. There will be a candle vigil for Gabrielle Bolton at Ringhaver Park. The 18-year-old was found dead in Moncrief last month. Another 18-year-old, Isaiah Greene, has now been charged with second-degree murder in her death. On your side's Brianna Turner is live at Ringhaver Park tonight. And Brianna, tell us a little bit more. It's going to be a very emotional evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, obviously, nothing's going on. It starts at 7 p.m., but family and friends are expected to gather here for Gabrielle Bolton, 18-year-old, who was murdered by her boyfriend September 20th. So we told you about this story before here on First Coast News. A police report says Bolton suffered trauma to her head, and that noticeable foul play was involved. Jacksonville Fire and Rescue said an unknown man ran from the scene on foot. And investigators say they later identified that person as Greene, who lives at the residence. A police report indicates that a witness told police that Greene called her around 7:30 a.m. and stated, quote, "She's lying and cheating on me, and I didn't mean to do it." I talked to AJ Jordan, outreach coordinator with Mad Dads, who is hosting this event. He works closely with the community to stop crime in neighborhoods. He says these murders need to stop, and people, if you see something, say something.
And young people, just, if you're in that situation, reach out and tell somebody, because we don't want any more people dead due to domestic violence and gun violence.
The vigil will start here at 7 p.m. like I mentioned, right here at Ringhaver Park. I'm live here in Jacksonville. Brianna Turner, First Coast News on your side.